movie The Master focuses on the relationship between Freddie Quell and Lancaster Dodd. Right from the onset, we see that there's a very clear, uneven power dynamic in their friendship. Lancaster Dodd is well-read, charismatic, and the leader of an emerging movement. Freddie Quell, on the other hand, is a Navy veteran who's struggling to adjust in a post-war society. He's an alcoholic, violent, and a recluse. After an unusual encounter, Lancaster Dodd becomes fond of Freddie and enjoys his company, while Freddie finally feels that he is loved and accepted by somebody. But the uneven power dynamic makes the relationship almost impossible to sustain. As Lancaster's movement starts growing, it almost becomes a cult, and hence Lancaster becomes more and more sure of himself. He is unwilling to change and will not let any relationship shape his life. He is, after all, the master, as the name of the movie suggests, and everyone else is his pupil. He gets highly agitated if anyone questions his ideas and fervently believes that it is his methods that will bring about healing to the world. We see in the movie that the master is able to bring about some changes in Freddie Quell through his methods. He is able to open him up to the past and enables him to confront the experiences that torment him. In this sense, there is a level of breakthrough in both their lives, but it's not strong enough to sustain their friendship. Lancaster Dodd looks at Freddie as an experiment. He is a lab rat. Many scenes in the movie brings out this aspect. At one point, Lancaster Dodd holds Freddie's leg and drags him around literally like a dog. In the prison scene, we see Lancaster shouting at Freddie and stating that no one likes him and that he is the only one that does. He does this to put him in his place and make him permanently dependent on him. The relationship comes to its inevitable end because no human being is willing to be treated that way for long. The master is affectionate to Freddie and wants him to stay, but on his own terms. Only if Freddie absolutely gives in to the master's dictate, which Freddie refuses to do because he wants to be his own person. Regardless though, we see that both have inevitably influenced each other. We see the master in tears when Freddie leaves, which brings about his emotional vulnerability, and Freddie later uses the master's methods in his encounter as a way to heal those he comes across. The movie shows that the balance of power has to be broken in order for a relationship to be genuine. There has to be a level of openness and vulnerability on both parties. If not, it's just a top-down authoritarian relationship. In his book, The Suffering God, Terence Fretheim states that when the God of the Bible gets into a relationship with his people, it is not an authoritarian one, but that of genuine relationship, which means that God opens himself to vulnerability in order to establish a deep, intimate relationship with his people. We see that in his relationship with Abraham, Moses, David, and the prophets. He is a God who stands beside and suffers as his people suffer, rather than being disassociated with their experiences and looking at it from above. Though God's relationship with man is a qualitatively different one from the relationship we have with one another, Fretheim argues that the Old Testament offers to us a God who vulnerably lays aside his authority and intimately binds himself to his people. And this elusive nature of vulnerability foreshadowed in the Old Testament concretely manifests itself in the incarnation of Christ and finally on the cross.